Hello, I am Denise from Miss Pattern Shop, and today I will show you how to sew this paperback short. You can find this short and the paperback pant in my Etsy shop. So here I have the front and this one is the pockets. So the first step that I have to do is to sew here. Okay, so here I sew the pockets with the front. And now I will make a little cut. You always have to make little cuts when you sew something in curve. So I will make a little cut. So after that I will flip the pocket. And now I will make a little stitch around all the pockets. I finish. So here I have my pocket. As you can see, the thing is, if you see in the pocket I have a picket, so this picket I have to put in the beginning of the pocket. So here I will use a pin. So here I have my pin, and then I will put the another side of the pocket with the size of the front. Very easy to make this pocket, so don't worry. So here finally we have our front, the pocket. Now I have to close the pocket and we finish the front. Back, and I will sew here in the center of the back. Great, so here I have my front. I finished to sew the pockets. The only thing that I make is a little stitch here and here too. So the pocket now then has to move. And here I close my pocket and I sew a little stitch with the serger so it will be more nice, like a termination. And for the back I did the same. I sew the center back and I use a serger for like a termination too. So now I have my front. I will put the two fronts together. So this one is one front. And another one here. So okay, so here I have my front. So now I have to sew the center front, but I will explain this part because it's very important. You will start to sew here and you will see that you have a picket here in the top of the front of the short, but at the same time you have another picket here that you have to stop to sew. So in this line, in this line between the another pickets, so here I will start to sew with a little stitch. So I will start to sew here, 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 and in that way you have to sew the front back, the center front. So I will repeat. You have a picket here in the top and another picket. So you have to start to sew here sew here when this picket and another picket connect. So here you will start to make a little stitch and you will sew the center front. But maybe it's a little difficult to understand, but then when you start to understand you will see that it's very easy to sew. So great, so here finally I sew it. As you can see, I start here, I make a little stitch and I sew all the center front. And in this part is open. So now I will open my short. So you will see this part open. So here I will start to make a little stitch. I will simulate the stitch of the fly front. So now I make a little stitch with the scissors with determination. This part I sew together, and then in this part that is open I sew with the scissors separately. And now I will flip this part to the right side and I will simulate the stitch of the fly front. I am in another camera, but I want to show you that I make this little stitch and then I made a 2 stitch, like simulate the fly front of the pants. And I used this one because it was very helpful to draw and then sew it. I finished the front and now I have to put the front and back together. And I will sew here in the sides. Finally, here I finished to sew the side and here too. So now I will make the hem, but before the hem I will sew with a serger here, like a termination. Okay, so finally I sew here the side of the short and here the center of the leg. So now, as you can see, I use a serger. And now you have to follow the picket here in the hem, and you will see from here, from the bottom to the picket, you have 6 centimeters. So here you have to flip in the picket. So here I have my picket, and I will use the pins like a kit. Here it will be the same. So I flip my hem. So now I will use a serger here and then I will make a little stitch to make the hem. So great, so here, so I serger all my hem and I make the little stitch. Here I have 6 centimeters, you have to follow the picket, remember? And now I will flip again and I will make a little stitch in that side and in the other side. As you can see here in the other side I finish, I make this stitch here and inside the leg too. So here I finish the hem. Okay. So great, so here, so I serger all my hem and I make the little stitch. Here I have 6 centimeters, you have to follow the picket, remember? And now I will flip again and I will make a little stitch in that side and in the other side. As you can see here in the other side I finish, I make this stitch here and inside the leg too. So here I finish the hem. So after that, now I will take my another piece that is the rectangle, is the view of the waist. So now I will put the front with the front waist here. So now I will put the waist with the front and I will sew here around all the waist. So after that, now I will take my another piece that is the rectangle, is the view of the waist. So now I will put the front with the front waist here. So now I will put the waist with the front and I will sew here around all the waist. So great, so here finally I sew the waist with the short. As you can see, I make a little stitch here all around the waist and I close here too, and I close and then I cut here because now here I have to flip my waist. This one will be the view of the waist. So I will use the scissor. It will be more easy and helpful to flip the waist. So when I finally finish, I will flip all my waist. And now if you see under the view of the waist, I have a picket in the 2 centimeters. So now I have to make a stitch all around the waist with a separation with 2 centimeters. Okay, so here finally I finished to stitch the waist, because now when I will put the elastic, they will start to do the ruffle. So I finish here, and if you see here in the pattern, you have a picket. So you have to make a picket, you have to make a stitch here, you have to put a stitch here, but first you have to put the elastic inside, and when you put the elastic inside, you have to do a stitch here. Why? Because I don't want that elastic make ruffle here. It has to be like normal stretch, and it will be in the same. Here I make another stitch here, and I put the elastic inside, because I don't want to have these kind of effects here. So now I will put the elastic inside, I will start to put here, and I will start to make a little stitch here to sew and close the waist. So when I will finish, they will start to make the effect of the ruffle. Okay, so finally I finished the short. I will show you, but first I have to make a declaration. So if you remember, when we put the view of the waist here, you have to sew here and all around the waist. But here, in another size, you have to do like you have to flip and then make a stitch. Why? Because if you remember, we have the stitch here that we made the imitation of the fly pants. After that, so I put, and if we make like a resume, we make this little stitch, and then I put inside the elastic. So here I put inside the elastic and I start to make a stitch here, and yes, I finish. The thing that we have to do now is to do the buttonhole and then put the button. So finally have to do the buttonhole and the button, and we finish. So here I have to put my button with the buttonhole. Here is a section of the elastic, my ruffle. Here I have my pocket and the hem of the short, that you can make another stitch here if you want, but I prefer to iron now with the iron, and I think this will be better. And we finish the short.